Hey there and welcome. This is Jinny and I appreciate you stopping by. Today I want to share with you how I use digital stamps on my projects. The images I use today are from Bugaboo stamps. They have so many cute, funny and whimsical images to choose from and I like them a lot. There are images which include the sentiments, but the images of my choice don't have them, so I just generated the greeting on my computer. You can print your images onto any paper or cardstock that will go through your printer, but unfortunately, mine isn't able to print on thicker paper, so my solution is to use some very thin marker paper. This pad is what I use. It's from Stanzen, and as you can see, the paper is really thin, and because of that you can see through it like vellum. So to make it work, I have to prep it before coloring. I use double-sided tape in A4 size, which I get from a local office supply store. I first trim off the edges to make it slightly smaller than the marker paper, and I also need a piece of white cardstock. One side of the double-sided tape I'm adhering onto the cardstock. The release paper I put aside and keep for future projects. It's quite handy to use when you do some inking, or you can die cut from it and use that as stencil. After adhering the double-sided tape, I trim off the excess cardstock. Now I'm taking off the release paper and then very carefully adhere the marker paper with the images printed on. Now the marker paper is matted onto the white cardstock. You can clearly see how thin it really is. Oh, one more thing. I realized that after prepping the paper with double-sided tape, you can layer more color than before. I think the color doesn't bleed through too much, and it also stays put inside the lines a lot better. As I mentioned before, thicker paper won't go through my printer, so these steps are what I have to go through when using Digis, but I thought maybe your printer behaves like mine too, so I just wanted to show you this option. For coloring, I'm using alpha brush markers. I've been using them for about 3 months now, and I think they're a great alternative to Copics. The price point is nice too. After putting a layer of the lightest gray shade, I'm coming in with the next darker gray and add some shading here and there. I actually don't care much about where the light is coming from, and so where I have to add the right shading, I'm just enjoying the coloring process. Now I'm grabbing the darkest gray and add more shading. The look on his face is just hilarious, and I think this image would be perfect for children or mail cards, or it could be colored in green or purple shades and used on Halloween projects. Using the lighter shade, I'm blending the darkest gray and then I'm grabbing the lightest gray color and put a layer on the entire image. To create a shadow, I'm using two very dark gray shades. One of them almost looks like black. Finally, I'm using red for coloring his dog color, and I'm done with this image and move on to the next one. For coloring the deer, I'm grabbing the lightest brown shade. After filling out the whole image, I'm using a medium brown color to add some shading. Like before, I don't care about the light source, so I'm just following the outlines when adding the shading here and there. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that because of my printer, I have to use those thin marker paper for digital stamps, and I showed you how I prep it before using. As you can see, I'm applying pretty heavy layers of colors on my image, but the colors still remain inside the lines and don't bleed through. When I used to color the images without prepping it with double-sided tape, the paper got soaked pretty fast, it tended to bleed through. The colors also didn't stay in the lines really well. I guess that the double-sided tape kinda prevents the colors from doing all of these and makes the thin paper behave like the normal cardstock-like marker paper. Okay, back to the image. For coloring the fox, I used reddish brown and beige colors. Now I'm using a muted green shade, and then I'm coming in with a light orange shade. I wanted to simulate all the beautiful colors during fall, so I'm grabbing muted green, orange, a bit of red, and some yellow too. By doing this, I'm not following any rules. I'm just adding colors here and there and enjoy the coloring process. For coloring the bunny, I'm using some gray shades. They are the two lightest shades that I use to color the Crabby dog. I continue to use these gray shades for coloring the owl, and to add a bit of bright color, I'm using some red shades here. For the bird, I'm using orange and red, and that finishes off my second image. For coloring this image, I again chose to use muted yellow, green, and brown shades, well, all of those beautiful fall colors. Normally, I tend to use bright colors, and so it was quite of a challenge for me actually to use those kind of colors and images. Well, I wanted to step out of my comfort zone and try out something new, and so that's why I chose those fall-related images, but still it was quite challenging coloring them. Just like before, I didn't care much about where to add the right shading. I'm just grabbing the colors and just keep coloring. Again, I'm using the muted green color first, and then I'm adding the light orange shade. I quite like the combination and think they look really pretty together. If I colored this image again, I would probably add some red and yellow on the leaves too. The whole image seemed to be too dark for my taste, so I decided to come back with the yellow and use that to color in the label. For the jar, I'm using brown colors. I first thought of using some blue shades, but then I decided to go with the brown, and I must say I like how this turned out. For my last image, I decided to go with my usual color palette. For coloring her hair, I first used a pale yellow. Then I'm adding pale blue and some pale pink. To blend the colors, I'm using the pale yellow again. To color the skin, I first used the lighter shade, then added the darker shade, and coming back with the lighter shade, I'm blending the two colors. Here I'm using some really bright pinks for a shirt and shoes. Again, I'm using the lighter shade first, then add some shading with the darker shade. The same colors I'm using on the bows too. Then I'm grabbing some gray shades to color the cute dog. They are the same shades that I used to color the Crabby dog, which was the first image in this video. The way this dog looks is just adorable, so cute. Okay, moving on, I wanted her to wear some jeans, so I'm using a light blue shade first. Now I'm adding the next darker blue shade, and I keep adding the color wherever I want to without caring much about the right shading. Then I'm adding the darkest blue shade. I first wanted to get some light blue colored jeans, but then changed my mind and wanted the jeans to be much darker, so I keep adding the middle and the darker shade until I'm satisfied with the look of it. I also wanted the hair color really pop, so I keep adding more layers of the pale blue and the pale pink. As a final step, I need to color the grass using different shades of bright greens, and this image is also done. Off screen, I used a rounded rectangle die to die cut the image. I want to mat it on black cardstock with the black just slightly showing, so taking the same die, I'm tracing the outline with a pencil. Following a sketch provided by Stella Says Sketch Challenge, I did mask off a part of my card base, then I repeated stamping the small image to fill out the exposed area. Then I'm tracing the lines with a thin black pen. After removing the painter's tape, I'm using a black gel pen to trace the lines. I'm okay with the lines being a little bit crooked and not too straight. The finished panel I'm gluing down onto the front. As a final touch and for a pop of color, I'm adhering a hot die cut with foam tape, and my first card is done. Using a rounded rectangle die again, I die cut the second image. Then I'm tracing the outline on dark brown cardstock. The finished panel I adhered onto a top folding craft card base. This one is such a simple design, but I'm still sharing this because I want to show you how I fixed a mistake. I didn't realize it at first, but the way the panel's been glued down is neither straight nor at an angle, so it just looks weird. It kinda kept bothering me, so taking the die again, I put it at an angle and traced the outlines with a pencil. Then, using a white gel pen, I'm drawing faux stitching. As I have the pencil marks as a guideline, it's quite easy to do. Now it's not too obvious that the panel is not straight. To die cut this image, I used the second biggest die from this die set made by Spellbinders. Now I'm taking the biggest die and I'm tracing the inner lines onto some brown cardstock. Off screen, I glued down the finished panel on muted orange colored side folding card base and double stamped the sentiment, and this card is done. The last image I also die cut off screen. To get the scallop borders, I used the biggest die from this set and die cut it once at one side and repeated die cutting on the other side. I want to make a bookmark, so I have a piece of black cardstock which is slightly bigger than the stamped image. After putting some double-sided tape, I can add the ribbon on top. I then add another piece of double-sided tape to make sure that the ribbon stays put. After applying liquid glue on the back of the panel, I'm gluing it down. I like to use liquid glue as it gives me some time to move things around, and it also happens to be pretty strong. Using the stamping tool again, I'm stamping the sentiment, and this one is also finished. Here you can see all the completed cards and the bookmark, of course. And that's it for today. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'd consider subscribing to my channel. I also want to mention that my videos will be made in English and German, so the next one will be in German. So before you go, make sure you click the subscribe button. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching and hope to see you again next time. Bye!